Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me and see me and see the screen. My name's Steve Smith. I'm the project lead for the Sustainable Studio Standard at BAFTA Albert. So hope you can see and hear me. Just to let you know that you're seeing a QR code on screen, which I'll leave up for a while. If you want any more information on the Sustainable Studio Standard, you can scan that QR code and it will take you directly to the landing page of the website, which is good, and you'll get more information. You'll be able to download things as well. So I just want to kind of talk about what we're going to be discussing this afternoon. So how to build a sustainable studio. We're not literally talking about building one from bricks, but you might want to do that. What we're talking about are the kind of ways that we can make our studios as sustainable as possible. And in doing so, we're going to reflect on the first year of the Studio Sustainability Standard and discuss how studios can take immediate action to decarbonize and roll out sustainable practices. In a moment, we'll be joined by some guests for a discussion, and some of the sort of talking points this afternoon are sort of, what is the Studio Sustainability Standard? We'll be looking at some of the headline findings from our recently published report that came out last week. I'll be talking about how you can join the standard if you operate a studio and want to participate this year, and the timeline for doing that. And then we'll also be having some questions and answers as well, because I want to give plenty of time for you to ask us questions if you want to know more about it. So first of all, I want to just start by kind of putting it into context. Why does this matter? You might have seen over the last few days, more reports about climate crisis. We've had the hottest June on record. Yesterday, they were reporting that around 61,000 people last year in Europe died as a result of extreme heat, and around 3,500 people in the UK that were attributed to those hot temperatures that we saw last summer. And this line on screen at the moment really explains the urgency for us to act. So the choices and actions implemented in this decade will have impacts now and for thousands of years. Rapid and far-reaching transitions across all sectors and systems are necessary to achieve deep and sustained emissions reductions and to secure a livable and sustainable future for all. So that was from the IPCC report earlier this year. And our industry is no exception. We have to get to net zero like everybody else as well. And so the Studio Sustainability Standard was kind of designed to help the studio facilities sector do that. So it's a voluntary standard for studio facilities that has been created by and for the industry. The standard is aligned to the UN SDGs that you can see there, the Sustainable Development Goals. And basically, when we were setting this up, Albert identified the following key objectives for the standard. We wanted to provide clear signposting to all studio stakeholders, so productions, participating studios, and other suppliers about the things that really matter. We also wanted to provide a common rule book that progressive studios can use to help become more sustainable. We want to accelerate the adoption of best practice and also support studios with corporate reporting requirements, which are coming down the line as well. So that's what we sort of set out to do. And basically, the aim of the standard is threefold. So education is at the heart of it. We want to guide studios in the practical steps they can make to become more sustainable. Incentivization, how can we provide clear rewards and recognition for studios as they move along the path to becoming more sustainable? And transparent, we think it's really important to encourage studios to collect data on their own sustainability progress and to bring that data together to create a picture of the progress of the industry as a whole. So that's what's really important. And then when it comes to recognition and rewarding, look out for these badges. So these are the badges that have been awarded to studios recently that participated in last year's standard. And I hope that increasingly studios will start using these on their literature, on their websites, on any kind of brochures that they send out. And basically, I'm hoping that the community, producers going to studios, will start asking studios if they're part of the standard. So, that's something that hopefully you'll increasingly sort of see. So just very briefly before we start our discussion, I just want to talk about I'm sorry, just reading something in the chat there, but I didn't need to do that at the moment. Wanting to sort of talk about the 5 themes that we focus on really with the studio standard. Basically, we are working in these kind of 5 key areas where we're talking about climate, the drive to help the industry get towards net zero carbon and become more resilient to climate change. Circularity, so that's supporting the transition to a circular economy through minimizing waste and the use of materials. The standard also focuses on other areas. So nature, how can we protect and enhance the green spaces that surround our studios to ensure that they are protecting biodiversity? We also focus on people. So how can we support and care for the well-being of visitors, workers, and the local communities that kind of come to our studios? And then also management. At the heart of the standard is ensuring that there is a robust and coherent approach towards management, governance, and training to drive sustainability performance improvement. And all of this is really held together by data. So collecting data, the data-driven insights shed a light on the progress made by studios in reducing their carbon footprints. So that's what we're focused on with the standard. And basically, if as a studio you participate in it, you are given something called the scorecard. So the scorecard is basically a very elaborate Excel worksheet. You can see, this is a screenshot of one of the pages of it. You can see along the bottom, you've got these different tabs. You can see these sort of 6 themes: climate, circularity, nature, people, management, and data. And basically, we ask studios a series of questions, and you complete the scorecard. You kind of select from drop-down menus the options. You put a narrative answer that explains what you're doing. And then basically that calculates a score for the studio, and that is then verified by Arup, who are the sort of technical partners that we work with in the standard. And that's what we use to basically produce a bespoke report for you that kind of gives you a performance report, but also the grade that we give as well. And again, you can sort of see here the different categories. So it's a bit like, I guess, the sort of AA rating for a sort of hotel, really, isn't it? So you can sort of see along here, no one really fails with the standard. That's not to say that studios can't make improvements, but what we want to do is we want studios to participate in this. And by participating, you get this bespoke report that will help you work on ways to improve your sustainability. So we didn't want to have a fail grade as such. And then basically, we've got these kind of 6 different grades that you can see. And again, you can see the themes here down the left-hand side of the screen. And basically, this shows you the kind of credits and the weighting that we give to different sections of the standard. So you get the majority of the kind of credits through climate action, because we think climate and circularity are the 2 key areas where we want to drive improvements. But then you can also get credits and a weighting for the measures you take in these other areas. And again, the badge that we give to studios. And again, there is a price to join the standard. Basically, that covers the costs of administering the standard. You'll be pleased to know that we've kept it frozen at last year's prices. The sort of cheapest annual fee is £1,500 based on any studio facility that has under 15,000 square feet of studio space. And then it rises to £7,000 a year for the biggest studio facilities. And again, just to say that the fee is based on the square footage of your studio floor space or your sound stages, not your back lots or your workshops or your offices. So that just kind of clarifies that. And then basically, if you want to participate in the studio standard this year, I just want to talk about the kind of the reporting window. So we've just opened the standard for the 2nd year. Basically, the submission window stays open until the 30th of November. So studios have until the 30th of November this year to complete a scorecard and basically submit the evidence that backs up what they say they do to us. And then from December to March, Arup and Albert will be processing that. We'll be awarding the scores, verifying the kind of scores that you have, and producing the bespoke reports that you'll get. And then the new standard will be issued on the 1st of April. And that rating that you get, that badge that you get, is valid for 12 months until the end of March 2025. And then, of course, it's a rolling annual process. So that's what we're happy. That's what we're doing. I want to just take a moment to thank all the studios that participated in the first 12 months of the standard. So you can see the studios here. I'm really grateful to them for taking part. And I just want to very quickly, before we have our discussion, sort of share some of the sort of the highlights really of the standard. You can see here that what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring together a place where studios can sort of work together collaboratively. We can collect data to see how the entire studio sector is working towards net zero. Hopefully you can see that these kind of environmental impacts in the future, we'll start seeing reductions in these as studios take action. As I said, studios get an anonymized, you're not kind of, we don't want to name and shame studios, but studios get an anonymized report which shows where they stand compared to other studios. So you can sort of see this is the ratings that we got for the first 12 months. And again, you know, if you know that you're Studio 7, you can see where you sit alongside your peers. So there's hopefully an element of competition there, encouraging people to kind of strive to get a higher rating. And then again, I just want to quickly look at some of the highlights. So this is sort of a snapshot that we get in our industry report. So we can tell that 5 out of the 12 studios were using things like carbon offsets. 8 out of the 12 studios were using sort of on-site generation. 8 of the 12 studios also had 100% renewable energy mix. And again, you can sort of see how 10 out of the 12 studios had environmental targets.